So if any of you are like me, when I was in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was a starving student, I didn't have any money. It actually took me until I was a senior studying economics. I had 6 classes left before I figured out what I wanted to do with my life. And it came to a point where I started doing a business minor, and as I was going through these business classes, I realized it's like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a businessman, I want to be an entrepreneur. But I lacked a few things. I lacked any capital to start a business. I lacked an idea to start a business. It wasn't until I had this math class and I learned a lesson from my honors calculus teacher. He was the dean of the math department at BYU, and he gave us this assignment that I thought was bizarre. He said, at the end of the semester you can write 15-page paper on calculus, or you can do a daily journal about your math assignments. I thought it would be easier to do the daily journal. One day when I was contemplating doing this homework, I met this girl and I wanted to take her on a date. And I wrote in my journal, I said, I had to make this big decision. Am I gonna go on this hot date, or am I gonna do my homework assignment? Because I only had time for one. And I decided to go with the hot date. In response, he wrote back to me in jest, but it's a lesson that I'll never forget. He said that in my journal that I should never let school get in the way of my education. And that was a lesson that I took very seriously. I realized being an entrepreneur, it's not something that I'm going to learn in school. It's not something that I'm going to learn from my marketing class or these kind of things. It's something that I had to go out and do. And I had to fail and fail and fail again until I learned how to do it right. And so that's what I decided to do. Now, the other problem that I had, now that I figured out what I wanted to do, is that I didn't have any cash. I didn't have any cash flow, I didn't have any money. I didn't have a rich relative that could hook me up with some seed fund money. I had to figure out how I was going to get the capital to start a business. As a married man, having one child, I could take out a lot of student loans. And so what I wanted to do was to cut all my costs and use that money to start my first business. So to make this plan work, I maxed out the loans. To get the loans in the first place, I had to register full-time as a student. But if I went to school and went to those classes, that would take up all my time. And so I registered as a full-time student, but I didn't go to any classes. I just took the loans and I started to build my business. Working through the failures and getting this business going, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And I realized that in hindsight, one of the most important things that any of us can do is to follow our intuition. You can call it your gut feelings, you can call it inspiration or the voice. So you're sitting here in this office for a reason. A friend brought to you this opportunity, thought it was a good idea, they're probably gonna do it. And you need to decide, like, is this something that you feel is gonna help you grow? Is it gonna push you? Is it gonna help you to become more so that eventually you can give more? A lot of people in your circle are gonna tell you that this is a risky job. It's sales, it's 100% commission. But in hindsight, through everything that I've been through, I've learned that it's actually risky not to do it, because you're actually going to be paid what you're worth. The sooner you jump on board, the more training you'll receive, you'll be prepared, you'll succeed.
Action.
So when I was going to the Y,
Move up, my left,